Welcome to the Scoliosis Dialogues, the official podcast of the Scoliosis Research Society. I'm Grant Hogue from Boston Children's Hospital, and I'm the host of the episode today. We're going to highlight and celebrate a true scoliosis hero today for Scoliosis Awareness Month. We have special guests with us, people who are truly VIPs when it comes to our patients and families. Our lead guest here today is Lauren Higginson, the founder of Higgy Bears, Higgy Con, and a plethora of family and support circles, a true Higgy ethosphere, as well as board member of the Higgy Bears ecosphere, Marissa Muccio, who is a scoliosis-specific physical therapist, in addition to volunteering with many different societies. So thank you both for being here today.
Thank you so much for having us.
So Lauren, it's really an honor to have you here. I think every surgeon, at least in North America and maybe worldwide, that takes care of children has seen a Higgy Bear, either in their clinic or on an Instagram or a patient showing us their Higgy Bear. And so if you don't mind telling maybe the rest of the audience, the people who don't know, just a little bit about your scoliosis journey and how this started.
Absolutely. So I have scoliosis myself, and I was diagnosed when I was around 13 or so. For whatever reason, I was never given a brace, but I probably needed one. But I always felt really alone, just kind of with the physical aspect of scoliosis. And I kind of hid my back the way kids hide their back brace. And I just felt very alone, didn't know anybody. So as an adult, I ended up having surgery and had a lot of downtime during my recovery and wanted to find a way to keep kids from feeling the way that I did growing up. So I came up with the idea for the Little Bears, and they took off. It's turned into a huge support group, and they're all over. But it kind of started with my experience of just feeling lonely and not knowing anyone. So I just every day is just spent helping kids feel less alone.
That's incredible.
Thank you.
So I was looking at your website, and I even asked Google Gemini to help me with some facts. And one of the first things that pops up is that you have shipped out greater than 60,000 Higgy Bears.
70,000.
70,000 now.
Gemini. Come on, Gemini.
Oh my gosh. Apparently Google's got to catch up, right? And so Google tells me almost 200 countries.
Yes, which I found out there's only 195 countries. But
I
rounded up.
Almost 200 is perfect then.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about the mindset of the teddy bear or a stuffed animal, and how you went into deciding that this was where we're going to focus, this was how we're going to create community.
Yeah, I mean, the teddy bear is just so approachable. Everybody has their favorite teddy bear. And just adding the brace to it, kids just immediately, I get videos of them opening their packages, and they're, oh my gosh, it has a brace. And then it matches their pattern on their brace too. So it's just something they can hold on to, hug. It's their little best friend. And it was kind of the perfect little mascot for scoliosis and to represent their journey.
Is there one place that you were most surprised to be shipping a Higgy Bear?
What stands out is there's a country, or maybe it's just a little island, but it's called Martinique. It's in the middle of the ocean. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's 20,000 people that live there, and a Higgy Bear is one of them. So that stood out, and just they're everywhere. So
absolutely.
Every time I get a new
incredible.
country, but I'm full at this point.
All right. And so if you are a healthcare provider on Martinique, Higgy Bears can make their way to you. And so I want to transition a little bit away from the bears and talk just maybe about the community that you've built, specifically about your meeting. So we are here today doing this live at the IMAST meeting in Toronto, but you've got your own meeting.
I do, yes.
So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it started where I live in Michigan. This will be the fourth year, and we're back in Michigan for the fourth year. But it started with a couple hundred people, and then it's grown and kind of doubled every year. But it's truly the best thing parents can do to bring their kids to this, because, for example, like this little girl, before Higgy Con even started, just seeing other kids with braces, her mom was like, tell Lauren what you just said. And she came up to me and she said, Miss Lauren, I belong here. And it's just seeing those other kids in braces, or seeing, other kids that have had surgery, it changes their life truly, to just know that they're not alone. So we have a ton of fun. Everything is green for scoliosis, and kids are in green tutus and running around. We have a lot of great speakers come and talk to the parents. It's just as much for the parents as the kids. But it's an incredibly special event. Maybe, Marissa, you want to talk to us a little bit about Higgy Con?
Oh, sure. Hi. So as a provider, especially before scoliosis-specific physical therapy came to North America, my background is in pediatric neurodevelopment. And so we're quite comfortable with finding wonderful tools and fun pediatric age-appropriate strategies and items to not only provide education, but also provide that psychosocial bridge and tool to just make the path and access within healthcare, which can sometimes be very frightening for children, a little more tolerable and a little bit more friendly and a little bit more approachable. So when scoliosis-specific physical therapy really started taking off from the grassroots, and then as the literature and the research began to support it, integrating it into standard of care for pediatrics especially, we really wanted to find the resources in my practice, but also in my surrounding colleagues. We wanted to be able to find the resources for parents to help navigate this journey. And Higgy Bears had evolved over the years to not just the item of the bear itself, but it developed into this entire community and the Higgy Con, which then began to connect with SRS leaders and providers and help parents to navigate the complexity of information. When medical research is thrown out on the internet, that can be hard for parents to discern what's true, what's not true, what is relevant for someone else's child, but what's meaningful for my child. How do I make decisions like something as significant as a spine surgery or not surgery, or, these are complex patient-shared decision-making processes. And to see it wrapped up in something so incredibly warm and open and organic, something that truly changes children's complete perception. I've watched it. I've been there as a provider to see a child feel like they're being dragged by their parent, the brace is in the car or in the hotel, or they're very afraid of a surgery, and within one day at Higgy Con, their brace is on outside of their clothes, they're decorating it, they're taking selfies with each other. Parents are forming relationships, having the time that healthcare structure often doesn't afford, to really have a dialogue and exchange of information, to begin to trust some of, for example, SRS leaders who are really presenting research in the format that is parent friendly, and to have the time to navigate that. It was all in one place, and it was extraordinary, and I drank the Kool-Aid.
I love the point that you've made about patients being together as children, wearing their brace outside of their clothes, because it's not somewhere where they need to hide any part of themselves. And I was so excited when we were asked to do this interview, because just yesterday I was at the airport, Boston Logan, Terminal E, and there is a young female, looks to be 8 or 9 years old. She's got on a tank top and her scoliosis brace, sitting in the terminal, holding her Higgy Bear with her backpack.
Wow.
And it's unbelievable to me, the reach that you have had. And it's really more than just you as a person, right? It's an idea. It's an ideal.
Right.
And it's something that at this point may even be out of your own control, because it's grown so incredibly across the world.
Yeah, like that's amazing to hear that you saw a kiddo at the airport, and they travel with them all over, and it's their best little buddy. And then just to add on about Higgy Con too, it's funny you saw so what happened in Chicago was all the kids, it was like the second day, and everybody had their confidence built, and they were all wearing their braces outside of their clothes. And they went to like a nearby shopping mall afterwards, and the surgeon reached out that happened to see it and said, "What is going on? I see all these kids with their brace," I call it rocking their brace on the outside. And we're like, because they just went to Higgy Con, and like they got all this confidence. So people, it really changes their, like, we focus on confidence and just how to talk to friends at school and all those things that really help kids. And it's just a really special event. And it's going to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan this year. And we already have 600 people signed up, and we'll have about 1,000. And We're going to work on maybe making a couple next year, a couple Higgy Cons throughout the country. So we'll see.
That's fantastic.
Thank you.
And so I want to ask a little bit maybe of a two-part question.
Sure.
One part is for each of you.
Okay.
And so in your bio on your website, you talk about your journey of multiple surgeries on your spine and how hard and how taxing that is.
Yes.
And in speaking to surgeons, very, very often they're saying, well, this is the average of what happens to people and this is what you can expect for your life. But then getting out of the surgeon's office and working on yourself and working with a physical therapist, you learn maybe how to beat those averages. And so tell me a little bit about that connection between patient and therapist, or patient and non-surgeon, and how it makes you feel being told, yes, you can beat the average, I can give you some hope. And then maybe, Marissa, you can tell us about how you help people beat the average.
Absolutely. Yeah, so with my personal experience, I was in a car accident after my surgery, and I had to have a rear vision surgery and had some complications and things. And I traveled the country. My husband, we went to probably 8 different surgeons, and it was actually a physical therapist locally that was like, oh, I think I can help you. And physical therapy has been really helpful for me, just helping control pain and things like that. And just having that special help from a physical therapist really is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marissa, how do you do it?
I think with regards to scoliosis-specific physical therapy, there was a fascinating history because what many people might not realize is that there was a large number of years in which general orthopedic physical therapy was shown in the research to not impact the progression of adolescent idiopathic scoliosis. And I call it baby in the bathwater went out. There for a time in certainly the United States, but globally, general physical therapy was quite dissociated from the care of physical therapy, of scoliosis, And then when the understanding of the implications of three-dimensionality, I think everybody, both surgeons and bracing and PT, spent a few years overly focused on the coronal plane, left, right, concave, convex, and we were missing some of the sagittal plane, the transverse plane, and the three-dimensional nature of scoliosis. Once that really showed up in the principles of biomechanics and the scoliosis-specific exercises, we started to see, thank goodness to Katarina Schroth in the early 1920s for that first bridge. And as that traveled across Europe and then traveled across countries, I sat in one of the earlier courses in 2009 in Wisconsin. And it was fascinating because I wasn't auditing that course for the purpose of doing scoliosis physical therapy. I was there to take a look at the underlying principles and theories. And I learned so much, it made so much sense that if we approach the human body three-dimensionally and the function and the biomechanics three-dimensionally, we could impact both non-operative, preoperative, perhaps post-operative symptom management. And in the last 15 years, the literature is starting to grow significantly. We're now awaiting what is the beginning data of a very large NIH study, which hopefully will be the exercise sister paper to the famous BRACED study. And we'll really be able to put both of those critical pieces, bracing and scoliosis-specific physical therapy, together to form that non-operative and then see it cross into the full rehabilitation. For me, the number one thing is that patient connection, and I think that's always been one of physical therapy's great roles, is that bridge from the community, from the patients as a holistic person in their own individual lives and participation in their goals, to the medical side. Because we naturally see them a little bit more frequently, we have that opportunity to develop a closer relationship, maybe help navigate some of that confusing medical terminology and research, and giving them the tools to navigate where they are and provide that encouragement, education, and support as they achieve their goals, or be a part of that structure to help if the goals need to pivot to surgery, and that it's not a sense of failure by any means. It's just simply where this condition has taken them in that journey, and be a part of that transition as well. So that interdisciplinary team approach, I think all areas of medicine show better outcomes. And it's just been a pleasure as a physical therapist to have been a member of SRS, to keep that inter-society and interdisciplinary communication and bridging building, and see our patients benefit from it. Full circle.
I think that's fantastic. I don't know that you could have given a better answer. So as you both know,
Yes.
this is going to be raising awareness during Scoliosis Awareness Month. This is going to roll out during kind of that SRS communications for the month. And so if there was one thing that you want the general public to know about patients who are living just a daily life, whether it's in a brace or post-operative care, like, what is the one thing that you would pass on to us to let us know?
Yeah. It's funny. I said this before. There's a quote of me saying this before I even, like, the very first year I started Higgy Bears, and I still believe it to this day. And I think everybody's coming around to it, but my message is that scoliosis, especially for kids and teens, is 99% emotional and social. And the physical aspect, like, you got to make sure the brace fits and it's not hurting and things like that. But kids, that's the biggest area we need to focus on, teaching them how to tell friends at school, how to deal with bullies, just how to stay motivated to wear the brace, how to live with the brace. And with surgery, of course. But I think that's the most important thing. My message is just that a lot of people focus on the physical, but it's so much more emotional than it is physical.
I think that's 100% true.
Yeah.
I mean, how much of our time, and Marissa, I'm sure you can speak to this as well, is spent taking care of medical problems while also counseling and being an emotional support and trying to let people know that they're not alone in this, whether it's that they have a team surrounding them or there are also a lot of other young people that are dealing with this simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Each of the disciplines, I think, when you come together as a team, can play a role in supporting that mental health. But I also think mental health as a discipline has been frequently overlooked. And the same passion and pursuit of, I want a second or a third opinion from the top surgeon, or I saw on Instagram, I want the best brace, or, one of the Schroth therapists who's now an instructor, like, that all is great. And I think it's really easy for professionals to forget to discuss mental health as a field and a profession, to find those resources and collaboration the same way we do for bracing and physical therapy and surgeon or pediatricians. We need to do that within the mental health profession as well. Bring them in, highlight the ones that specialize in chronic medical conditions that cross sensitive developmental timeframes, that cross longer time periods than you might think. And do a better job of making that component of a person's care as important as the other ones. Because in the end, we're not treating a curve, we are treating a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point, Marissa. And so, Lauren, within the Higgy support world,
Yes.
what is the next big thing and what are you most excited about?
Well, always excited about Higgy Con. I'm always excited to get bears to kids, but I'm starting a new program called Higgy Live, where I'm working with Dave & Buster's. They have really good event kind of centers for kids, and I'm going to different cities, depending on what I can, physically do with my back and things like that, but trying to get things closer to families where they can come to an event and have like a little mini Higgy Con and meet other kids and kind of make a difference in their life too. So I'm really excited about that. And then just really prepping for Higgy Con, and the deadline to register for it is May 25th. So people are coming from all over the world to come to it, and just really focusing on that and making it as great as possible as I can for the kids.
And so if listeners to the podcast wanted to come to Higgy Con or wanted to support
Yes.
the Higgy world, is there a best website or a place to go for that?
Absolutely. I would love anyone that wants to come is welcome, and support is always welcome. If you go to higgybears.com, there's a Higgy Con tab, and it has all the information there along with sponsorship information. I have lots of amazing sponsors that come: Inova, Shriners Hospital, Nemours, Spinal Technology. So a lot of people that really support me in our cause. So definitely, check it out at the Higgy Con tab, and you can see all the pictures of the kids. We do a cute little fashion show for everybody, so you can see all those pictures there. Just so everybody knows too, let families know that they can request a free Higgy Bear on my website. I have little mini Higgy Bears. They just pay shipping, and I can ship all over the world.
All right, listeners, higgybears.com.
Higgy Con tab.
There you go. And so, Lauren and Marissa, thank you both for joining us on the podcast today. It's been an absolute honor to host you. We're appreciative of your efforts, and we look forward to collaborating in the future.
Thank you so much.